Hello everyone, welcome back to Chainsaw Slaughter. This time back on the Wreckers Yard again. We got two more Wreckers Yard Wreckers matches, and then we'll be back on for more Comp TBD with a different map. But for this set, we've got Silence versus Elevate. The Silence killing first, Nervosito playing our dear beloved Anna, Huntress, and we've got no chase perks, pure regression with a little bit of slowdown from the corrupt intervention, and immediate chase starting at the broken bus onto Gusta. Now Nervosito set in a good position to get a hatchet. Are we going to see the injury come out? No. Hatchet hits the wrong side of the bus, and a head-on comes through. Survivors for Elevate starting off with a bang.
And yeah, that head-on is giving exactly the distance that was needed to make this dumpster filler as well, which is a pretty strong filler as long as you have just a little bit of distance on the Huntress. They have to be careful to win this 50-50 though. They pull up the hatchet, they're playing the short side now. Now just playing back and forth. Nervo trying to mind game this, trying to stop them from getting the pallet. Excellent flare coming in from Gusta, and he's just maintaining distance between him and the Huntress. He's only got 3 hatchets left now. If Gusta can just dodge a couple more, then this Huntress will be forced to reload mid-chase, which is going to hurt them. Only needs to dodge one more hatchet before that breakpoint, and we see Gusta just still stuck here, now zoned into this dumpster corner, but now making his way over to the bus, and Nervo needs to hit this hatchet, but it's going to hit the tree instead, so now only 1 hatchet left. If Gusta can just keep this going a little longer, now it's just a 110 killer to worry about. I think Nervo's going to have to reload mid-chase, and we see the first gen popping as now Gusta gets a full map's worth of distance here, can basically make anything he wants from here, as Nervo has to reload, and now we're essentially starting the game with 4 gens.
What an incredible start from Elevate, just having a baller chase at that generator, or at that tile over there at 7 next to the generator, or at 12 at the broken bus, and now going to be shifting chase onto Miata over here at the corner 5, and Nervosito yet to get a down, just due to like good survivor pathing, a good head on, and just really well played on the tiles. But eventually this will be the final first down of the game. Like you said, we just kind of had like a weird little hiccup where it just seemed like corrupt didn't even matter. I mean, we saw a generator popping, and the survivors for Elevate perfectly managing where they wanted to be chased and where they needed to be pressuring these generators away from the Huntress's domain. But now we kind of see where the hook is happening. It's in that 9 side, right? Where we saw that generator pop was over at 3. So we still have this nasty little set of gens, collection of gens to camp with the hook. But no, Elevate says we're going to insta-pull. You're not going to have the opportunity to hook. And survivors likewise, knowing that Nervosito wants that hook in the genlock, so just pulls it immediately while our ace player holds chase without giving that injury, and these injuries are so crucial. So now Nervosito in chase with Miato again and wants to get to this 3v1 as bad as possible, as quickly as possible, and Miato's got a little bit of distance. Nervosito's going to reload with a fresh patch of 7 hatchets, going to throw for it, and Miato flares. Hit doesn't come through, but now it's up to Miato to delay this tunnel out.
Yeah, they need to delay this tunnel for just a little bit longer, as they already have gen pressure to go, and Nervo just not getting the hits that he needs with these hatchets. He does win this little 50-50, Miato doing a good job being patient, but in the end is going to get hit by the hatchet. Now it's going to be the second stage coming in onto Miato, but we do know that there is a lot of gen progress to be had. Hooking on this active gen is going to be extremely beneficial for Nervo's current position, because they might not lose as many gens here as they would have originally. Going to be kicking this gen, applying that eruption to it, playing for regression on the gen, and then whenever he gets that tunnel out eventually, this gen will regress from eruption, and he can hopefully, for his sake, prevent that gen from popping in the 3v1 scenario, as he does want to have more gens remaining at this point in the game. He does have this gen over here that he can pressure. We do see the Nia running off and not going to flare this, just going to hold W, and Nervo just trying to get this hit, not holding the hatchet for very long, just going for these quick shots, trying to see if he can get a quick tag, just not quite able to land it, as Gusta in the corner of the map here just dodging these hatchets, using this junk to his advantage, and just not able to get this tag. Nervo gets the hatchet tag. This could potentially be a 2-tap. We see the oak haft in hand. The recovery speed is there. One more hatchet left, and I don't think Gusta can really make anything. Doesn't make it to the pallet, and it's just going to force locker, which is going to allow for a free unhook. We do see the eruption proccing on that gen, and a generator popping as well. These survivors still have adequate pressure, and Miato does get unhooked in this moment. Nervo now with only 1 hatchet in hand needs to go back for this tunnel. He can decide whether he just wants to play with the 1 hatchet or if he's going to reload. Looks like he's going to reload, which is going to allow Miato to kind of choose where he wants his tunnel out to be. He can kind of choose where he wants to get chased for this last chase, if he even gets found, as Nervo doesn't really have eyes on him yet. Going to be checking this broken bus area, looking for survivors, but
Doesn't seem like there's anyone here, although he does seem to spot Miyato over here near this generator. And we do also hear, it is worth noting that that gen that was so high progress has been lowered to a very low percentage now. We see Miyato holding W key. It's really going to come. Oh, that's going to be the hit just barely through the vault. We see the survivors here. We're ready to help, but it's not going to matter in the end. We do see the flashlight coming in, but does not quite get the flashlight save. That would have been absolutely huge for Elevate here. But now Silence getting this tunnel out at 2 generators remaining. They can definitely get more satyrs out of this position.
You can see Nervosito very willing to let the hatchets fly, not very concerned with conserving the hatchets on the hatchet count. With that Huntress buff, just base hits 7 hatchets at all times unless you're using Iridescent Head. Huntress is very, very much so an intimidating killer and able to just let the hatchets fly. Now we're entering into the 3v1, so not much generator progress on the board to go for that. Eruption, no more Eruption still in play. 2 pain res tokens used. Nia pain res, so now it's just David and Ace are the targets for Nervosito to get another pain res going. But like I said, these gens still have a little bit of progress going on them for that death that Miyato had, so not quite a tight gen lock for Nervosito to hold. Nia's stuck in a corner. This is likely going to be a 2-tap with how rapidly a Huntress can dish out these health states. Up to Nervosito to just get this rock, run around it, and get that health state going. That's the first health state. Are we going to see the follow-up hatchet? No! A good dodge from Gusta is going to be able to avoid that hatchet. Nervosito going to swing through the pallet, and a short swing is going to be the end of Gusta. But remember, Nia is not a pain resonance, so this will not affect any current operated gens. But then again, a hook in this corner. If Nervosito is able to spot the rotation for the unhook, this could be a disaster. Like we say, every time we get to that 3v1, the option for slugging and ending the game right here, right now is always an option, especially on a killer like Huntress that's able to dish out these health states so rapidly.
Yeah, this generator being one of the ones with progress too is going to harm them, as it is very essential, very easy to pressure. We're going to see the eruption applied once again to this generator. We did spot one survivor very far distance, and here's what you just mentioned, catching this rotation out. We know that one survivor is across the entire map, so if Nervo can manage to get this down before that survivor has a chance to run across the entirety of the map, we see another short swing coming through, getting the hit through the pallet, breaking the pallet, instantly zoning the survivor to the corner. If a survivor doesn't rotate here for the pull, we see the flare. That is exactly what they needed. If he had gone down there, it would have been absolutely disastrous for them. And Nervo just really wants to end this right now. As you mentioned, you can slug this now. Just committing chase to this ace, getting the down. We see the explosion on the shack gen, and just as that moment the pull comes in, I can only imagine what would have happened if that down happened a little bit faster. But either way, it's going to be pain res definitely on that far gen off in the 9 edge map. And these survivors are in a bit of a precarious spot now. They had the gem pressure, but they are very quickly losing it.
Elevate spotting the disaster that was potentially about to happen with our ace player going down there. So just in the nick of time, David's sweet child is able to get that pull before anything else worse happens. A little bit of a slowdown in the game now. Gusta on death hook. David still a potential pain res. Ace's pain has been used. We see scratch marks going towards 7. Nervosito knows exactly where he is. But now we just gotta find our death hook Nia. I'm wondering if she's just cranking that gen over there at the 3. No, it was Nia going for the unhook, and David, sweet child, is in that corner deep 3. So I'm curious if this is the correct play. I mean, do you really want your death hook player to be over in this corner of the map? I mean, I understand Wrecker's Yard is not really the safest map, but anywhere you go, Gusta wins that 50-50, spotting the short swing through the pallet, and just opts to choose it, opts to drop it. But no, Nervosito follows up with a likewise well-aimed hatchet, expecting the flare. Gusta walks right into it like a beautiful symphony of destruction, and that is going to be entering into the 2v1. Nervosito making a statement after that early game, saying, no, I will not be getting outed today.
Yeah, maybe he just needed to warm up a little bit more, as some of that early game hatchets were just rapidly missing. But, you know, after landing a few, he kind of got in the groove of things, and I think he's got that confidence back, and he's showcasing it right now. Can potentially get the 4K2 here, as the Survivor's gen pressure is not very high right now, and we see a little bit of confusion from our ace player and where the Huntress is coming from. Can't even throw the shack pot in time, and that's going to be the 2-tap at shack here into a reload. Now this can be slugged, and he can go and look for the David and just go for that 4K2 right now. And going to check this gen over here where the David probably was going off to after the unhook. Although there is potential that he made his way to the other generator and is going to go pop that generator. So could be a 4K1 if the survivors play a little bit of a risky playstyle here and just try to finish that last
generator to get down to that 1 gen spot. But Nervo just really aggressively searching this area. Could you imagine if Sweet Child were on the other gen this entire time? We might actually see the generator pop, and that would be very, very good for them, a very good recovery, and definitely a playable win con for a Huntress. But Nervo is still looking in this area. Where is this David? Is David on the gen? Is David going for the pickup? Is David stuck in the corner map? And we see David going for the pickup here. He does not quite get the pickup, and now we're in chase at Shack. Nervo chasing Sweet Child, as Sweet Child really needs to get the pickup on this survivor, but also needs to worry about not going down here. It's a very, very much a nice edge kind of situation. Shack Pallet does go down. He is not going to get tagged over the table. He does get the pickup, but can the Huntress line up the shot here? The gen getting in the way, not able to get the hit, and now the survivors can just scatter to the wind, play their distance, and try to split these generators, and now they're in a position where they can't actually get this 4K1. Shack Pallet still dropped. Nervo's going to have to break this and commit to one of these survivors.
Sweet Child played that perfectly, just biding their time until the perfect opportunity to run into Shack and get the pickup at the right moment. Ace doing a good job to crawl behind the pallet, making it optimal for Sweet Child to drop it and then dodge the hatchet and then get the pickup. So a great recovery from the survivors for Elevate, but likewise a good follow-up hatchet from Nervo is going to put us back in the same situation. Now Sweet Child sighs and says, all right, I'll put the team on my shoulders again and see what they can cook up. A chase, though, coming in much sooner this time, so chances of success are likely a lot lower. And the fact that David was in this corner, Sweet Child, we know they weren't working 3, so there's no chance that another gen is going to be popping while the chase is happening. Nervo going to miss the hatchet there. Sweet Child still holding chase here, and yeah, I think, like you said, I think we're going to see a 4K2. I think off of that amazing early game, it still won't be enough to get an out here in this set, which is just incredible because they were just managing their distance so well. I'm just wondering, where did it all go wrong?
Yeah, I think they just couldn't maintain the gen pressure once the Nervo kind of got his hatchets going. The chases were a lot shorter, there were a lot of tags coming in, and they just couldn't keep up with the pressure that Nervo was putting out. Even after that really, really strong start. I mean, we saw how long that first chase was, and while it was still relevant to mention that, yes, a generator did pop for that first chase, you have to wonder why didn't 2 generators pop for that first chase with how much time was spent on those survivors. Why didn't 2 gens pop for that first down, which would help them not be in the position that they're in right now. But either way, mistakes were made here on both sides, but in the end, Nervo was able to come out on top, recovering from a bad early game and going into a very strong mid to late game, really showing some dominance here and landing that 4K2 for Silence. So now Silence on Survivor sides have a much easier win con. Just needing to pop 4 generators, very doable versus a Huntress. And so we will have to see if Elevate, if their killer can match a result like this one, which is not the most unheard of result for Huntress, but definitely this is not the norm. This is not a normal result for Huntress. So we'll have to see if Elevate can match the pressure that Nervo started putting out in just a moment. So please stay tuned for the end of this matchup between Elevate and Silence.
Hello and welcome back to the Chainsaw Slaughter. Back to Wrecker's Yard, back to a Huntress set. We just saw Nervosito for Silence get a 4K at 2 generators for Team Silence, and now we're going to be seeing Phenom play for Elevate, this time also piloting Huntress, and same add-ons actually. Still seeing Babushka and the OCAF, so not really too many Roads route enjoyers, I guess, here, but either way, a similar build, but instead of Eruption, we see Agitation coming out. A little bit of a locker check, but checks the wrong locker. Head-on comes through from Nervosito, so going to be starting this chase off with a good stun. Then I'm going to be trying to get an injury here, and talk to me, Autumn, about matching this win con of 4K2 or even beating it with a 4K3. What do you think he needs to do?
What you really need here is a good first chase and a strong hook position. That's really what it's going to come down to. You see, Nervo's getting a corner map already. He's getting zoned over here, and so he's not really going to have a very long first chase. It might be enough time to get decent pressure. Maybe pop a gen if there's no pain res, if they doubled something. But either way, not the worst first chase here for Venom. And now he just needs a strong position, which is exactly what he's getting here, which is this choke map, choke point kind of hook situation. The only thing he has running against him right now is he can't 4K1 this. That's not his win con, so he can't fully commit to camping this because he doesn't have anything better than a 3 gen in this area. so he needs to play outwards more and get a better hook position. So he might not be able to tunnel this from the start. He might have to go for a different survivor and hook them in a better position on active gens or in basement or something along those lines. Either that or he just needs a very fast tunnel out. I think those are kind of his options right now, and it's all going to depend on whether the survivors make mistakes or not. If the survivors are playing this perfectly, then he's going to have a very hard time. It's going to be a massively uphill battle. Gets the tag onto Mariana from across the map here. We see the first gen popping, and now he can just play the tunnel out onto Nervo, though he's looking for another down, although Mari not giving it to him, hiding behind resources to make sure that he can't, she can't get tagged here. And now Venom is just going to be chasing Nervo on this truck, seeing if he can get the hit, and very good flare from Nervo, dodging that very last second, although greeting this pallet, and Venom completely predicts it and is going to get the down here. And now with the center map down, he can basement hook this, and that can give him a lot of pressure, but it looks like he doesn't even want to basement hook this. He wants to take this back to the choke point. Once again, if these survivors just play the faraway gens, then they can definitely play for their win con here and just play for the 4K1. Even with the slightly faster tunnel, they can just basically give up the 4K as long as they pop 4 generators. That's all they need to do to win this. Just keep that in mind.
Those long-range hatches that Phenom got on Mariano, just those matter so much, especially in a set where you need a high win con like 4K3 to win it. So these survivors are going to need to just keep up the pressure on the generators. If I'm the survivors for Silence, I'm just going to say, honestly, at this point, just wait to pull last second or even let them die on hook and just split the gens. I mean, like you said earlier, we can just allow a 4K to happen as long as we pop 4 generators is all we need. So with a well-played win con from Nervosito, it's going to make it quite easy on Silence. But at the same time, Venom's got a nice little stranglehold on this. I mean, I would say it's probably a mistake from Silence to be even working these kind of generators so close to the hook. I mean, don't you want to just do the safe generators and just leave it to 4K1? I mean, with Ruin up, Phenom's in a good position to just proxy the hook in that choke point while letting it tick away with Ruin. So I'm curious how Silence are going to recover from this kind of scenario. Nervosito is likely going to get the death here. No person coming into the choke point. No chance of that happening anymore. Then I'm going to give up that generator at 1 and just opt to chase here over at 7. But a good pallet is here in play for the survivor. Gets pre-dropped. FDS on the chase here, just going to try and make sure he can delay the injury. But Phenom says no, he's actually holding chase on it, wants that nether pain res, and Ace is a prime position to get hooked here.
Yeah, kind of getting zoned over here with no resources, and now just needs to play his chase the best he can. The survivors do have a very good chance in this position. They just need to play their split generators. If they can pop that generator on the hill, and then if FTS can die deep in the choke here, they have a very good chance here. It looks like Venom getting a little confused, losing him for a second. Doesn't know where the survivor went, still having a hard time finally catching the trail of the scratch marks here, and it looks like it might just be leading over here to the edge of the map, and it's exactly what's happening. FTS just dying as far away as possible. We see a generator popping, and it's the one on the hill gen, and that's the tie condition mat. And there's the win con mat instantly. Very well played from Silence, just taking their distance, dying in the right spots, and just showing what can happen if you play your death positions properly on a map like Wrecker's Yard.
Yep, Phenom knew exactly what was going to happen there if he kept doing that chase and just thought he could down the Ace a little bit quicker than that. FDS doing a good job to mislead him with the scratch marks, making him think he was playing a tile when he wasn't, when in his full intention in the originality was to die edge map away from those generators. And Silence making sure to set up with their win con of 4K2 or 4K1, just pop those safe gens, exactly what I was talking about earlier. It's just no reason to work them. They just snapped right back onto those safe gens and said, let's just get the win con, let's stop fooling around. So a great performance by Silence to meet it, and an even better one by Nervosito to set a easy, comfortable win con for him. Quick pull does come through onto FDS, and you kind of need that. I mean, Huntress, it's kind of like Billy in that sense, where if you don't, either has to be a quick pull or no pull at all. Good hatchet onto Mariana is going to lead to a quick down onto that filler pallet. No pallet save coming in anytime soon. That said, though, now we're kind of left in a desolate spot. I mean, yes, you got that win con, but you kind of sacrificed everything. So while we play it out for the best result possible, these chances of the survivors escaping this match are a little bit slimmer now because of this little 3-gen we've got. Shack is pretty much going to be the only thing that's operatable. I mean, it's the only thing with cover, and everything else is in that little coven next to that hooks there. So it's Phenom will probably make it very difficult to even get out of here.
Yeah, we do see the unhook coming out, but that's going to be another injury just like last time. can just play the slug game now, potentially get that 4K1, just downing all the survivors one by one. He does have a 1 hatchet for each survivor. If he can land 1, 1, 1, and just get all the downs, he could just play for the slugs here. But it looks like he's just going to take the M1 down and go for the pickup. I think this is last painter, if I'm not mistaken, which definitely will set the survivors' gen progress down, maybe even to 0 with the ruins still remaining after they've been interrupted for so long. That's going to be the last painters coming through. All fresh is now used. Still 3 hatchets to go off of and only 2 survivors to worry about. We hear Shaq has a lot of progress here. It's interrupted and we see enough scratch marks to know that both survivors were over here, just trying to see if they could pop this generator, doubling it for this chase. And now Venom just needs to zone them away from the gen, zone them away from the hook, and just play his time.
Yeah, talk to me about how you think this match went for Venom. I mean, we had a great opportunity to get a high win con, but it seems like Silence just kind of bid their time and just got unhooks at the right time. I mean, I thought we were going to see, with how fast the first chase was, just a stacking multitude of chaos and injuries, and then Venom actually interrupts this, so I'll have to hold back on my analysis for now. We got a chase with FDS. He's in the corner here at 12, and Venom looking to wrap this up at a 4K1. Mariana's slugged on the ground, so he's got to wait at least like 14 seconds before Mariana's fully recovered to pick him up. Good hatchet dodge. FDS is just hugging these tires and these rock, interchange these loops to try and delay his death. Injury comes through on FDS, and see if it's going to end here at 4K1.
Yeah, this is looking like a 4K1. As you said, like what was going on with Venom, I really think that a lot of it came down to that second hook. We talk about the importance of hook placements on Wrecker's Yard for Huntress. You bring agitation solely for the purpose of getting these excellent hook placements. And so hooking them in a 3-gen rather than taking the basement hook, I think that was the biggest mistake on that side. Although, even with the basement hook, the thing is, these survivors played it so well, and you can't really fault Venom too much for that, because at the end of the day, you're asking for such a difficult win con from a killer that really shouldn't be putting out the condition like that. Getting a 4K2 tie condition for a killer like Huntress, it just doesn't happen that often. So, like I said, the survivors would have to make a lot of mistakes in order to meet that win con, and unfortunately for Venom, we're not making that many mistakes.
Yeah, no fault from Venom of your own. I mean, if you have to ask your opponent to make mistakes, well, sometimes it's out of your control. A win for Silence is going to be the result of this set. Elevate going to be knocked out of the bracket. So we'll be back with you for more Wrecker's Yard. Stick around. Thanks for watching.